Whenever someone mentions the classic piano sound, what they generally are referring to is the Korg M1 piano. Now, Korg M1 designed an analog synthesizer which started taking the world by storm, and everybody started utilizing the piano sound that came with it. Luckily for us, the Korg M1 also was emulated into a plugin, and that's what I'm using. So we start off with the M1 plugin, and we make sure we choose the M1 house piano and the pianos one setting here. And the way you do it is you just click on the load button, choose piano here, and once you choose piano, you can go and select M1 house piano, which is what I did. And I did the same thing with the pianos one. I just loaded it and I went under piano and I chose the pianos one setting. All right. After this, I make sure, the insert effects for the M1 were turned off, and for the M1 house piano were turned off, while as I left them on for the pianos one. And the masters, I made sure to remove all effects for the masters as well. That's it for the M1 settings. Then I EQ out some of the resonant frequencies. So let's hear the piano without the EQ on. As you can see, with the plugin off, there are a lot of resonance frequencies and it sounds a little muddy, whereas with the settings that I have, it sounds a lot more brighter because of the boost here, as well as I reduced some of the resonant frequencies to make it sound nicer. I then use the J37 plugin, which is a really good tape saturation plugin, but I use it only for the wow effect over here. So this is what it sounds like with the wow effect. Now I'm going to turn up the wow effect a little bit. So keeping it very subtle, it gives it like this classic vibe, as if you're playing a tape that's kind of getting old and kind of going bad, but it still sounds really nice. After this, I used a compressor called CLA2A by Waves. I compress to the -3 point over here. Make sure you are doing adjustments in the gain to compensate for the gain reduction here. After this, I have FabFilter Volcano plugin. This is not for processing. This is mostly for automation to progress the piano. So this is what it sounds. I have the low pass going, and that's why you can, progress it nicely throughout the track. After this, I use the Haas effect to widen my piano. So if you don't know what the Haas effect is, it's essentially duplicating the piano signal into two different left and right panned signals, and then slightly adding delay to the left or the right channel. I'm using a delay on the left channel because I want the piano to sound like it's coming from the left-hand side. And this really creates a wide effect. So if you listen to the piano without the Haas effect, it's very mono. Now with it on, now be very careful of how you use the Haas effect because of the fact that it can introduce phasing, which will not sound good on speakers in a club. So you want to use it on elements which do not have any low end. Use Haas on one or two elements in your track that don't conflict. Next, I move on to the transient shaper. And the transient shaper essentially sharpens the attack or lowers the attack. In my situation, I lowered the attack to make the piano a little bit more easy on the ears. Otherwise, they were coming in really hot and it sounded like a little bit piercing. I said reduce the attack to -45%. And I left the sustain and gain as it is. Now this is by Native Instruments. It's a great plugin. Finally, I have the Echoboy, which is a Soundtoys plugin, which is a great plugin company as well. And I have the 1/8 delay going and only a little bit, maybe 3 notches up, just to introduce the slapback effect that you can hear with the piano. Now pay attention to the delay within the piano. It's gone now. It also introduces a little bit of a groove to the piano, which sounds really cool. It's like almost someone's playing it twice. One special sauce trick that I wanted to show you guys, as you can notice, there isn't any MIDI on this clip, and that's because I am sending MIDI through a plugin called Cthulhu, which is a great plugin by Xfer Records. And Xfer Records is the company that also produced the Serum synthesizer. And I use a custom preset that I downloaded and I bought from a producer R&B, and I use the A sharp minor R&B chord preset for this. And the way Cthulhu works is you press a button and it essentially plays a chord out for you. Instead of playing a single note, it plays the whole chord. Very key, and highly recommend you get it. It's very reasonable to purchase. And that's basically how I made the piano sound. Now, if you wanted to get this entire patch to download, you can go to my Patreon, and I will be linking this patch in the Patreon page. I also will be sharing all of my tutorial patches and presets on my Patreon page, so you can go over there. I'll put a link in the description.